Have you heard about the UN recently passing a resolution regarding the territory that Israel's occupying?
No. But I gotta go get this fairy tale book. I'm sorry.
Okay, have fun in your fairy tale book. Apparently, fantasy's more important than dealing with the reality that we live in right now in this world. Millie Weaver reporting for Infowars.com. Recently, the UN passed a resolution that no longer recognizes Israel's occupation in part of its West Bank territory. Israel has come out and said that they have evidence that Obama was actually spearheading this resolution with himself and the Arab nations. Why is this happening right now? Why did they just pass this right before Donald Trump is going to take the White House from Obama?
The resolution demands Israel, quote, immediately and completely cease all settlement activities, calling it a flagrant violation under international law. CNN has learned that President Obama was prepared to let the resolution pass, either by abstaining or voting in favor of it. The move today would have been seen by many as a provocation.
Is this going to cause a conflict in the Middle East? Is this going to make a difficult situation for Trump to have to mitigate? Well, it's interesting because this resolution does not actually allow for actions to be taken against Israel. However, it opens the door for future resolutions to be made, which would then allow actions to be taken against Israel, which would mean sanctions on Israel. They have a meeting scheduled January 15th, right before Obama is scheduled to leave the White House. So they have time to pass this resolution while he's still in office. It doesn't look like Israel's very happy about this, and it doesn't look like they're going to be attending this meeting in Paris on the 15th. This is looking like it's a situation that's heating up. So I'm going to go ahead and ask some of these Americans out here today what their thoughts are on this. Do you think that we should be involved in Middle Eastern conflicts? Do you think that the U.S. should even be part of the United Nations? Let's go see what they have to say. Have you heard about the UN's recent resolution regarding Israel and some of the territories they're occupying?
Yeah, I caught a glimpse of that. I should say it a soundbite. Listening to both of the radio stations.
What do you think about it?
I think they did a little bit of an injustice towards the Israelis. I mean, they've always been my friend. I don't see why President Obama should take such a negative stand on the Israelis.
I think it's a betrayal to Israel. We're supposed to be their allies, and they've been good allies to us. So I definitely think what Obama has done is wrong.
I think it's great.
Really? And can you explain why?
Because if we're going to say that we want a two-state solution, we have to stop those settlements. It's not fair to the Palestinians, and ultimately it's going to hurt the Jewish nation as well.
I think it sucks. I think it was a backstab move on Obama's part, because traditionally we supported Israel since they became a country, and it's their part of the world too. I don't know how they make space for everybody, but the Palestinians have, like Hamas hasn't even recognized the Israelis' right to exist. And then, the West Bank, the other Palestinians, they're trying to get back in with Hamas, and I suspect that they're not going to recognize Israel either. So I don't know, the ultimate goal for all them people is to push Israel, or the destruction of Israel.
I heard a little bit about it, but not much.
What do you think about it? Do you think that the United Nations and the United States should be dictating and getting involved in foreign affairs?
I don't know, that's a tricky one. Unfortunately, I think we have to play some type of role, but I don't know how much of a role that we should take. I mean, those guys have been fighting about that stuff forever, so I don't think we're going to have any say in what they really do. So
the United Nations is not a friend of democracy.
This has to be a deal between the Palestinians and the Israelis.
Do you think that the U.S. should remain part of the United Nations, and do you think that the UN should be telling Israel what lands they can and can't occupy?
I still believe it doesn't matter. I mean, it would not work very well regardless of which way it goes.
They're putting all the money up for it, so why shouldn't they head it up? More than just a part. I think they ought to lead it.
That's debatable. I'm not really sure.
Do you think that this is going to embolden the Palestinians to act out on Israel because they're seeing that they're getting, in a way, some bit of help or favoritism from the UN?
Probably, but I think Netanyahu can take care of it.
I don't think we should pull out of the UN. I think we all have to learn to play together. And I think it's a big world, but it's becoming a smaller world. And the UN is one of the few bodies that can perhaps diffuse some of those issues.
Listen to Russia, listen to China, listen to all those other guys. But the United States is the greatest country in the world. So let them have their role.
Trump says he wants to be seen as an honest broker in the Mideast.
I would love to be neutral if it's possible. It's probably not possible because there's so much hatred. There's so much going on.
Theoretically, if these people from Israel have been occupying this land for quite some time now, do you think it's going to cause a little bit of a conflict, telling them they have to get out or else the UN's going to put sanctions on them?
That would, if they've been there for a while, it would be, it would cause a lot of conflict.
I don't know, but it certainly couldn't help.
Not any more than we already have. It's been we've been treating the Palestinians very unfairly for a long, long time.
I think there'll be a conflict regardless whether it was Obama or for Trump. So no, I don't think so.
I think that our treatment of the Palestinians has been the thing that has put gas on the fire for all Arabs and Muslims. There used to be a lot of Christian Palestinians as well, and we totally turned our backs on them, and that population has dwindled. So I think if we had treated the Palestinians fairly to begin with, there'd be a lot less of an issue in the Middle East.
That's like the only democracy there, and it's, I don't know. Like I said, we've always had their back. I think Obama's a Muslim myself, but that's not that I hold that against him either, but he definitely leans that way. So that's been his policy all along, I think.
The Obama administration engaged in some pretty breathtaking dishonesty. They're saying that they warned Israel that this could happen, that they couldn't do anything to stop it. In many ways, this is Israel's fault. The U.S. had every incentive to keep this from happening, and they had the ability to keep it from happening.
What do you think about Obama doing this literally right toward the end of his...
It's all about his legacy. He wants to leave something behind, and so far, he doesn't have much to leave. So as a result, he's trying to push something like this through at the last minute. And I just think it's too little too late for him.
I think it was pretty much expected. He's going to do as much as he can with the little bit of time he has left.
He's still the president, and I'm glad he did it.
Do you think
he waited too long, but I'm glad he did it.
I think he's doing some legacy stuff, but, a lot of it's going to go away with the new administration, I think.
I think there's two diverging paths anyway, so, one party's going to say one thing and the other party's going to say the other.
So there you have it. We have very differing opinions on this subject because it is very controversial, and it will continue to be controversial for quite some time. Not to mention the fact that Obama has done this right before Trump is in office, putting a bigger mess on his plate to clean up when conflict arises in the Middle East. Should we be messing around and involved in these affairs? That's the question we have to ask ourselves. So this is Millie Weaver, signing off for Infowars.com.